But when you stack up all these coincidences, it starts to paint a picture like the moon is weird. A lot of people will point to the fact that the moon during the eclipse is like the perfect size to block out the sun because it's like a 400-to-1 ratio. That's fair, but the moon at one point was a lot closer to the Earth and it's drifting away. So at some point, it's not going to be perfect anymore. But the moon, the far side the crust is different, older, and much thicker, and fewer impacts are on the far side that are on the near side. When you think it would be the opposite, because that's kind of like should be grabbing things as they come in, but instead there's not as many impacts on that side. When during one of the Apollo missions, as a test, a seismic test, they crashed one of the rockets into the moon just to take readings, seismograph readings, to see what was going on there. And the phrase is the moon rang like a bell for over an hour. So if you set off like seismic charges here to measure sound waves that go through the Earth, as they go through the Earth, they slow down as they go through all this dense matter and then through the mantle and the core, like it just slows down. The moon, they don't do that. The sound waves sped up and started to bounce all around in there and started to like reverberate for a long time. And no one could really explain that. Now, the prevailing theory, the mainstream theory, is that the moon is a lot less dense than the Earth because it was created from the Earth's crust and the upper mantle, which is less dense, which is why the moon is less dense. So the interior has maybe some hollow spaces, or it's just it's not quite as dense. That's why. Okay, but the sound waves bounced around for a long time. There was a long time.
This is true.
This is true.
What hit it again?
They dropped one of the rocket boosters. They just crashed it in there. But they did seismograph readings in subsequent missions there, where they actually drop in like explosives, control explosives, and they just take the readings and see what happens to the sound waves. It's a normal scientific thing to do. I think they were just surprised.